All right, so our current goal is to try to make it so I can click on one of these types and it will filter by that type. So it'll only show Pokemon that have that type amongst their typing. There's a lot of moving parts in that. It actually sounds kind of overwhelming at first. So we're going to do this step by step. Now, the first thing I want to do is I want to create a new component that's going to hold all of our filters. So over here, I'm going to have a component called we'll call it type filters.tsx, and then the same stuff as before, the export default, all that stuff. Whoops. Yeah, all the normal stuff. So we'll add that. And then it's going to be type filters. And we're going to want to get some type filters in order to display them. So to display the type filters, we're going to have a list of strings that are going to be type filters. So we'll say props. We're passing in props, and then we need to call it type filters, and that will be of a type string array. Okay. So we're going to return. All I'm going to do for the return is I'm just going to map it. So we'll map it to just a span for now, and then we'll come back and update it to appear how we want it to appear. Just for now, I want to get the text showing. So very simple, as we've been doing, it'll be props.typefilters.map. And then inside of the map, we have our callback function. In this case, I believe we do it with parentheses because we're doing JSX. It's kind of a weird thing. Here we're going to have our data or singular type filter, and then I, which is going to be our implicitly has any type. So this is, why is this not, should be letting us know that that's okay, but so type filter, it's going to be a string, and then I is going to be a number. Something wrong with how I'm doing this. It doesn't look quite right. Yeah, what's going on here? We'll get to it. Maybe sometimes it fixes itself when you start doing stuff here. So it's going to be a span with a key of I, and then inside of here is going to be displaying the actual type filter. Okay. Still trying to figure out what's going on here with this. Why is it not liking props here? Comma expected. Very odd. This is how it's supposed to look, I believe. I mean, that's fine. Feel like I'm missing something here, maybe up here. No, that looks right. Now it's fine. Okay. It wants that. Well, no. It's not how I want it to be. I want it to be like this. Take this out. Oh, because we need an outermost, that's right. So we need an outermost thing around the outside, because if you remember, we have to return a singular HTML component, so we can't return multiple. Okay, the rest looks good, I believe, although we're missing here. There we go. All right. Sorry about that. We forgot to put the outermost parent element. But this should be good to go. It should create spans for each of them as we click them. Now we need to create some click behavior as well as a variable to track those. So in our page.tsx, this is our uppermost element. This is where we're going to create our filters. So we're going to say const type filters, set type filters. We're going to use our use state. In this case, it's going to be a string array. And our default value for this is just going to be an empty array, just like up here. So what do we do now? Okay, so now we have to pass our setter function. Well, actually, we want to create a new function that's going to say function add type filter. And then it's going to take in a type filter. So type filter string. And whenever it gets that type filter, it's going to add it to our type filters. Now, this is kind of complicated because we have to use our setter for this. We can't just push to our type filters. Otherwise, it won't trigger the re-render like we want it to do. So what we'll do is set type filters, and we're going to set it to a new array, but the array is going to contain the previous type filters, plus it's going to contain the new type filter that's being added. So it's going to contain whatever was previously in there, plus whatever new one is being passed into this. And we're actually going to pass this function over to our table. So let's import our new import type filters and import type filters. And we'll add that type filter right here. Self-enclosing. And we're going to add one more thing to my table, which is going to be the add type filter function. Add type filter. And adding to the type filter will be, just a second here, it's going to pass in the add type filter. Now, one extra thing that I just thought about where I got sidetracked, I need to make sure that this type filter isn't already in type filter. So like if I click fire and then I click fire again, I don't want it to add a second fire to the type filter. So we're going to check if it exists in, and we can do that with if, I believe, type filter, type filters dot contains. No. Type filters dot includes. There it is. Okay. Different languages do it differently. I always forget. Singular type filter. So if type filter is inside of here, then we don't want to do it. If it isn't, then we do want to do it. So actually what we'll do is invert this. So this is going to return true if the type filter is in type filters, and it's going to return false if the type filter is not in type filters. So we want to invert that. So we're say if it doesn't include type filter, then we want to add it to the type filters. All right, so now we're adding this one to here. And we're getting an error because we don't have our type filters here. And we're getting an error here because we need to include our type filters. So we're going to say type filters equals type filters. So now we're passing in those type filters. Now we need to add that click behavior to our table. So let's go back to my table, and we need to add an on click to our type filter. So down here, if you remember, we created our type filter spans here, and we need an on click behavior for those. So we'll say on click equals, and we'll just type handle click for now, and then we need to make a function called handle click. So up here, I'm going to create a function, handle click, and then inside of there, I'm just going to console log clicked first because I just wanted to show that we can get that click to work. Now, why is that not? Cannot find name handle click. Is this inside the right thing? It should be. Oh, it's because these functions are outside of our main function. So I have to actually put this inside of the main function. I can just do it below, or I could do it above. I'm just going to do it down below, so it's kind of out of the way. But now it knows where handle click is, and handle click is here, so we're good. Now we're still missing our extra set type. I think it was called add type filter. So we're going to pass that prop in. And this is a very common method for setting things in one component and then dealing with them in another. You actually pass a function in. So this is a function that we're passing. And so we got the add type filter function. And now everything should be good. It's not going to work yet because I haven't done the clicking behavior yet. don't know why there's an exclamation point there, but let's go over here and just see if we can get some behavior out of clicking. So if I go to my console here and I click, I'm getting click, 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 click. That's good. Oh, I have this warning that I forgot about. Where is that from? Where am I missing the key? So I have a key on this map. Is it, I'm mapping here. Is this why? Okay, maybe I have to put a key on these as well. So we'll say key equals I. Okay, let's try that. Okay, beautiful. That's much better. Okay, now if I click these, you can see that we're actually getting that click behavior. The issue is, how do I actually get the value of that click? So what is the value, first of all? Well, the value is going to be whatever type is being clicked, whatever the text is. So I have to look through here, and we have our handle click. But what we can actually do is use a callback function like this, and then the callback function can call handle click, and we can pass in a value to it. I believe we can pass in our text here. And now if I go back up to handle click, I can say type string, and then we'll go ahead and put the type here. And I believe that now when I click this, it should pass the text in, which means I should see the text that's being clicked. Grass, poison, fire, flying. Good, so we're getting that typing. The problem is it's the capital one, and I don't really want the capitalized one because the capitalized one is not truly what the type is. So rather than passing the text in, I just want to pass in the input I, which is the unedited version of the text. Otherwise, I'm going to have issues with filtering later. So this should be lowercase now. Lowercase fire, good. Flying, fire, good. Water, everything's working beautifully. Very cool. Whoops, 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 whoops. Okay. So to review, this is an anonymous function. It's basically we're putting a function in here because we can't, this onClick is expecting a function to be put in here. And it's going to run whatever function is put in there. We can't set any parameters for that, so we couldn't pass this in to the handle click function unless we put it inside of another anonymous function. There's some other ways that we could have handled that. We could, it does pass an event to that handle click function, and we could deal with the event target value. I found that just using an anonymous function makes it so much simpler, so much easier. So this is a very clean way to just get that text that we click. All right, so the next thing we need to do is I need to add that type here. So I'm going to call this props.add type filter that we passed in, and we're going to pass the type in this way. Now, if I've done everything correctly, when I click this, look at that, poison, grass, fire, flying. So I'm getting all these things added, and if I click water multiple times, it doesn't go on there. Now we're not actually filtering yet. I think this needs to be broken up into a second video, but I hope this kind of not only explains how I went about this, but also how I kind of think about problem solving as a whole when I'm programming. I didn't really know how I was going to approach this, but I've approached similar problems before, and I kind of thought about it step by step. What do I need to do? Okay, I need to access these values in another component. Okay, I need a way to add those values to that array. Okay, I need a function for that. I need to send that function to the table. Okay, I need some on-click behavior. I need to figure out how to pass the text in that way. So basically, as you get more experience as a developer, as you get more experience with Next and with React, you'll kind of figure these things out much more organically without even really having to look up anything. So I hope this was a helpful one. This is a challenging idea for sure. We're starting to get into more challenging stuff. The basic stuff is getting behind us. So anyway, the next video, we're going to actually get these filters working.